Hi there, this is H. Victoria Hogler Atkerson. I'm an author and a writer, and I would like to talk to you today about my favorite subject, which is writing and developing characters for your stories. So it's really the most wonderful thing you can do for yourself is to develop your characters that you're going to be writing about. Now, as I like to write a biography of each one of my characters, especially my main characters, even the lesser characters, I do short topical descriptions of who they are, what the past, where they came from, number one, where did it come from, how they move in the world, what are their motivations in life, how do they look? I want to know what color their hair is, what color their eyes are. I want to know their skin tone. I want to know how they, just how they move in the world. I want to know about their family background, because everybody comes from somewhere. So I want to know everything there is to know about these characters, and I think it's very important when you are writing that this stuff comes out and is revealed. It doesn't have to come out all at one time, but it can be very descriptive to the writer over the course of your writing. So as you reveal, sometimes you can tell that who that character is in the very beginning, or you can let them discover who this person is. And I think that's kind of fascinating. To do both is really great, to do both, because you have a foundation for their curiosity, like, oh, who is this person? Why are they doing this? And if you can get people involved in the story and why you're writing the story, I think you are into you're into a really great place as far as writing is concerned. So know who your characters are. Like I said, I do biographies of each one of my characters. I want to know the background. I want to know everything about them. So how do you find out all this information about characters and who they are? Because I think the reader needs to know what color their eyes are, like I said, the skin, how the skin looks, if they have hair on their face, if they have a mole, whatever. People need to know. Or if you're talking about a little kid, how does the kid look? Is he jovial, happy? Is it a sad, depressed child? What does this child look like? And especially like in Kutsu, when we were walking among the Kutsu, my novel, we talk about this little girl. And people look at the cover and say, that's not a black kid. But yes, she is a black child. So take a look at this, because we come in every shade and every color. And what does she look like? So we discover who she is and how she looks. And the fact that her looks makes her mother angry. So we have to find out why. Why is this woman so upset that this kid is, half white? Most of us are mixed with something in this country, so that's human nature. So in the writing, you want to reveal that. Now, getting back to the character studies. Now, one of the things I like to have students do is to observe people in their immediate environment, whether they're on the subway, whether they're going to their office, or sitting in a meeting in their office, or in a grocery store. I've had some great observation opportunities just going shopping, and I'm not a big shopper, and that's one reason I don't like to go shopping, because I just don't, that's not my favorite activity. But there are things you can find out about people and human behavior just by watching. Be the eyes and the ears of your characters, and you need to relate that to your reader so that when they read about this character, they'll have a sense of who this person is. There's a friend of mine, he's not a member of my church, but he comes there, and the man has the most wonderful cologne I've ever smelled in my life. So I think it's in Stones Along the Path. I talk about the experience of being around a person who always had that wonderful masculine scent. I mean, he's an elderly man, but that his cologne is like drives women crazy. And he loves the attention too. So it's really cool. But think about things like that. What to this person, your character, what does he smell like? How does he style his hair? What type of clothes do they wear? What if you have a foxy, sexy woman? What does she look like? Is she overconfident? Or is she comfortable in her body? Does she sway when she walks? Does she slunder into a room, or does she just clops? Is she walking on spike heels and don't know how? Or is she off balance when she walks on them, which many people are. They think they look great in these spike heels, but they look awful because they're hunched over. So how are you going to let the reader know that? And how are you going to let them feel that? Okay? They have to be able to see that. So we want to know our characters as much as we can. So one of the things I love to do, and I recommend that you do, is to observe people. And even when you're in a meeting at work, see who these people are. You have leaders, you have agitators, you have people who are bored to death and would like to do nothing but to crawl under a rug and to get the hell out of there. So who are these people? There's always someone that's overly enthusiastic about life in general, and no matter what catastrophe happens, they're like, oh, the ceiling just fell down, but we can put it back up there. Don't worry about a thing. We can handle this. Let's join together. You know, some people are eternal optimists. So how are you going to capture that? Okay, so we're talking about all these different types of behavior. And one of the wonderful things I do, that I like to do, I say I do, because I don't know whether it makes people uncomfortable or not, but trying to be unobtrusive, I observe people and their behaviors. And I remember one time I was going to North Carolina on a train, and this couple was so in love. They wouldn't see me if I hit them on top of the head. They were just so into each other. But I love being able to observe them and to see how this man touched the woman he loved, because it was obvious to everyone. And a couple of people around them were like, I wish they'd take it to the bedroom. I wish they'd go somewhere and rent a room. You know, but for me, it was like a character study, because I was able to see that and to see the touching and to see their eyes connect and see how they connected. You know, what does that man look at when he looks at the woman he loves? What does she look at? How does she feel? How does she move her head when he touches her? I mean, those are just golden opportunities that a writer can internalize and write about and make that a part of his writing process, because if you can do that, it's wonderful. Like I said, when we are talking about things like kudzu vines that have no talking parts, but we can make the person feel like they're in that atmosphere, it's amazing. If you can go pick up a book and read about a family sitting down at the table and they're eating macaroni and cheese, fried chicken, you know, fresh made rolls, and you can make them feel like they're at that table. And even at some point, it would trigger their hunger, and they're going to go to the kitchen and get something to eat themselves. You created a little magic there. And it's amazing what you can do to make a person feel like they're part of that scene. And it is one of the most critical things about writing. You have to be there for that reader, because that's where your writing lives, in the mind of that reader. So it's a responsibility you need to take seriously. You're talking about a Christmas party? Okay, we want to smell the cinnamon in the air. We want to feel like we're at that celebration. We want the smell of pine. You want to just feel that. So what are you going to do to make that reader feel like they're part of that atmosphere, that environment? So let's get busy. Be sure to observe people and don't be intimidated. Write it down. And if somebody asks you, what are you doing? Just say, I'm a writer. Own it. I'm a writer. and I'm, observing people. And if you don't mind, I like to observe you. I'm doing a character about, I don't know, I'm doing a romantic novel, and I like to write down your behaviors as you talk. If you don't mind. And then if they do mind, it doesn't matter anyway, because you don't have to do it in front of them. You can just take it in and write it down later. So, but I always think if a person notices that I'm doing that, I always explain my process, because I think it's just the kind thing to do. And it put people on guard too. Sometimes, but the thing is, you want to get them unguarded. So be the eyes and the ears of your reader, be the nose of your reader, and let them feel all the things that they need to do. Because that paper is one-dimensional, but you want that three-dimensional character to rise up and be with them, be in the room with them. You want them to feel that. When that man touches that woman romantically, you want them to feel that blush, that light blush, or that light thrill that runs through their body. You want to feel that. There's no sense in writing about romance if you can't make them do that. Or if you're writing about something that's funny, if nobody laughs, then what are you doing? So if you know people who are funny, observe them and listen to them, most importantly, because when a person who have a natural gift of comedy, the best thing you can do is sit there and listen. You don't comment, just listen to them, how they tell the story, how they begin a story, what's the middle part, what's the highlight of it, how do they close out. So those are the types of things you want to do, and those are the things you want to really listen to, because that's what's going to make your story bubble. I had a friend who told wonderful stories, and I loved them. He would tell them over and over again, and I would never get tired of them. And I shared them in Bottom Up Bottom in that dissertation I think I did on Crippled Jake. That's one of my friends. He told jokes incessantly. And the first thing he would do when he come in the house, he would say, "Hello, how you doing?" He looked wonderful. He was like the greatest, most poised person walking in. And then as soon as he got in and reintroduced himself to everybody, he'd take his wig off and put it on the counter. That kind of stuff is golden. So don't be afraid. Listen. Keep your eyes open. Internalize the people around you in your environment. If you're on the subway, if you're on the bus, you see something amazing, write it down. If you see a person that's charismatic, find out why. Follow them around and just observe them, see what they do. What makes them so charismatic? What makes people attracted to them? What are people doing in their environment around them how do they respond to this person? Whether it's a woman or a man, if that woman is so gorgeous, how do men respond to that person? How do women respond to her? Is it a positive response? Or is it a laid back, like, jealous response? If you have a guy that's a stalker, just like Akinyele was, what is that obsessive behavior about? If you're talking about somebody who's paranoid schizophrenic, you're talking about people who are depressed, you want to get into the mind. And if you're talking about these behaviors, do yourself a favor. Go get some psychology books and write down all the symptoms and characteristics of those diseases, and you'd be surprised. You have some wonderful stuff on hand. I tell you, it's golden. Observation is golden. Interviews are golden. If you want to always talk to people, ask them why they do what they do. It's absolutely amazing. So I think that's enough. We have really covered a lot, because you could go on and on talking about character development, because it's so important and there's so much there to explore. So I want to thank you for listening to my channel, and I would like you, before you go, like my channel and be sure to subscribe, because that'll guarantee that I will be here. So subscribe to each one of my presentations, and do me a favor, look me up on my website, which is www.hvictoriaharger@Atkerson, and that's a .com, hvictoriaharger@Atkerson.com. And to order my books, go to Kindle, Amazon.com and Barnes and Nobles. Now, if you go to a bookstore, they don't have it, ask them to stock it for you, okay? So enjoy your holidays because we're days away from Christmas. So you take care, love someone special, and love to you.